Now, in the third subtask of the calculator project, we are going to be performing the actual calculations, that is addition and subtraction. So let's look at the objectives for this particular subtask. We have to update the user input functions to take two inputs A and B, which we will be adding or subtracting based on the user choice. And we are going to do this by initializing a numbers array in which the first element of the numbers array will be A, or the first value given by the user, and the second element of the numbers array will be B, or the second value given by the user. Coming to the code, we are going to import the scanner class from the java.util package, and we're going to have our public class CodeChef, which contains all of our methods. So for the user input function, we are going to take scanner object as an input and an array of integers as an input along with the scanner. So first we're going to print out give two numbers on two lines, and we're going to print out number 1 is, and then we're going to ask the user to give an input which will be assigned to the first element of the array, as I told previously. And similarly, we're going to ask the user to give out the second number, and once again we're going to be assigning this number to the second element of the array using the scanner.nextInt. Now in an addition function, we are going to be getting integer as an output, and we will be taking the first two numbers, that is int a and int b, as an input, and then we are simply going to return a plus b. Now similarly in the subtraction function, once again we are going to get integer as an output, and similarly to addition function, we are going to be taking a and b as an input, and then we're going to simply return a minus b. Now in the calculator function method, we are going to get string as an output, and we're going to take two integers as an input, namely user choice and scanner object. And first we're going to create a result string which will be empty at first. Now we are handling the user choice here. So in the previous subtask we had a separate method for this, but here we are integrating it with the calculator function method. Now if user choice is 1, that is the user wants to add, then we're going to call the user input method with scanner and numbers as an input. Now we're going to initialize an output variable which is going to store the result of this particular function. Now over here we are going to be calling the addition method because the user choice is 1, that is the user wants to perform addition, and we're going to store that output from that particular method in this particular variable. And as you can see over here, we have given the first element and the second element of an array as an input to this function. And finally, in the result string which I had defined before over here, which was empty, we're going to change it to result equal to the sum is, and then we're going to print out the output which we get from this addition function. And else if user choice is 2, then once again we're going to call the user input function because we need to take input from the user to perform addition or subtraction. And same as the previous user choice, we're going to be storing the output from the subtraction function in the output variable, and once again we are taking the first element and the second element of an array as an input, and finally we will be storing in the result the differences and will be printing out the output, and else the result will be exit the program, and then we're going to return the result at the end of this particular code. Now coming to the main function, it is exactly the same as the previous subtask. We are creating a scanner object, and then we're going to print out the calculator menu, and we are going to ask the user to give a choice which they want to do, and here we're taking input from the user for that, and here we have a result string which will take the output given from the calculator function over here, and finally the result which you got from the calculator function will be printed out. We're going to close the scanner to free up space or to prevent any kind of resource leak. Let's just run this code once. So let's say I want to subtract, and I give two numbers 7 and 8. So you can see we've gotten the difference as -1. Let's just submit this code once. So we passed all 3 test cases. Let's move on to the final subtask.